Hello and welcome to the third episode of the Force Viewing Podcast, or the new Force Viewing Podcast. Yes, I am sounding really awesome right now. Blah, blah, blah. We just went to the movie theater and saw the new film, Get Out. Written and directed by Jordan Peele.
Who's that?
Some black guy.
Oh, okay.
So basically, I am the Drudgeon, and I am here with...
Zeb Carter.
Meg, Ellen.
Amy.
Doug Walker.
Lackey.
Scott?
And Vince.
And we have another person that may end up... two people that may have showing up later on, which, of course, Bruni, so we'll hear about penises and...
Bruni.
No, not good.
Bruni.
You need to listen to the PSA one. That was...
Oh, God.
Horrible. He found everything, like... So we looked at all the PSAs and we were like, okay, that's bad, that worked. And he's like, oh, well, the bitch had it coming. You know, so...
That's the answer I gave her. Even if there was no women in it, he'd be like, bitch, yeah, come on.
Wow. Hey.
Alrighty then.
All right.
So, yes, we'll see what happens with
We're
that.
concerned some anger issues there, eh, John?
And drinking. I mean...
Yes.
Surely
so,
you're
yeah.
talking about somebody else, not John.
No. So, yes, I finally cracked out of the house and went to go see a movie in the theaters. Now, before I spread my love or hate of the movie, let's give a brief rundown of the plot. Spoiler alert if you really need that crap. So basically there's a black guy who, I cannot say his last name.
Daniel Kaluuya.
Thank you!
Sweet.
Who, I know from Black Mirror.
Yep.
Right,
He was
yes,
great
Black
in Black
Mirror.
Mirror.
Got 50 million merits.
Yep.
Yeah, that was such a good episode. He plays a black guy.
The black guy plays a
He's not a black guy in real life.
No, he's not.
He just
That's
plays
total
a black
black
guy.
guy.
It would be more. I think it would be more of a surprise if he played a Samoan.
He's great
Or
in
a
that
Maori.
episode.
Oh, yeah, he is.
I
Black,
love
all of Black Mirror is good.
Oh, yeah.
But we'll do
Black
that
Mirror is
later.
great, period. Yeah.
Then we have his girlfriend, Allison Williams, who plays a white girl.
Hubba hubba.
And then we have her family, because she's taking him to go meet them for the first time. Gesundheit.
Nice.
We have Catherine Keener,
Hubba hubba.
Bradley Whitford,
Hubba hubba.
Caleb Landry Jones.
Hubba hubba.
And then you have the two helpers of the place, Marcus Henderson and Betty Gabriel. Okay, so those out of the way, and all of us have a cheat sheet if you need it, because numerous podcasts we've done where we're like, I don't know who that is, look it up quick! Or we come up with nicknames.
That one dude.
The gardener.
That one dude, the redhead stepchild, you know, all that
The
stuff.
black guy and so forth.
Well, no, we're doing that already
The
with this one.
gardener.
Yeah.
So basically they get there and everything seems kind of hunky-dory, where the family is like, yeah, we totally want to get along with you, and we're kind of hip with black people and shit like that. And then it starts getting a little bit funky and a little bit weird, and it turns out there's this, the mom can hypnotize people because, well, she took classes and all that crap, and blah, blah, blah. They're in the end pretty much sold into slavery, and... for
All that
sex.
sucks.
But in the end, it's a brain transplant of sorts where they put part of a white person's brain into the black person's body, so it's a bit of a 50-50, but it's stupid.
I don't think it's part. I thought it was just the whole thing, pretty much.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
really
No,
get
no,
there's a little bit of it was
it's
black.
part.
There was like
they had
a,
to say, so
No, not
part
in
of
the
the
white person's brain.
It was
no, they
mostly-
take out part of the white person, put it into...
They take out the
them.
majority.
become
The majority,
Yeah,
yeah.
they keep the brain
They
stem.
say specifically because you have there's still a
Yes, to
little
keep
bit
his
of you
neuron
that's going to be
person in
there.
there.
He has to keep
That's
functioning.
why they
get
start
it?
crying and they start
Yeah.
actually having a reaction.
Yeah.
So
Scientifically, they have to keep that little part of the person that is getting the brain put in them so they can keep moving and have them
Yeah,
nerve
pretty much.
functions.
Yeah.
Right.
And not
Interface
totally
with spinal-
die, because you can't put a transplant into a dead guy.
Right. And
Well,
Not
yeah,
in
you
this
can
movie.
if you-
I was like, not in this movie.
as
you
your
can't.
Victor
Let
Frankenstein,
me
you
rephrase.
can.
This isn't
I mean, if you really
reanimated.
care,
Not in
you
this
can
movie,
do
you
it.
can't.
Actually, not yet.
Not
Okay.
if you're willing to put
So
the effort
basically, in
into
the
it.
end, yada yada yada, the girlfriend's in on it and all that stuff. Blah blah blah. Okay,
Pretty much you only gave the spoilers. You didn't even like
what else do we need to know about it that's actually important?
that the TSA apparently rocks.
Yeah.
Really could have predicted that.
I actually, I kind of like this.
Spoiler alert, that's not how the TSA works in real life.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Most of this doesn't happen this way in real life.
Most this is not.
About the only thing that's
no
right
brains.
on is maybe some of the dating and some of the whole weird looks and white people trying to be like, I'm black, right? I like Tiger Woods.
Oh my
I mean, you know.
Wow.
So I'll let you people have the floor who would like to speak first.
What do you mean by
Not you.
people?
As in you, what? black people.
Oh, okay.
And a bunch
white.
of whites.
It's because I'm white, isn't it?
Yes.
Probably.
Now, I would like to make the majority here is all black. We're all black here, so we can say whatever we want to about this movie. Zeb's the only white one here.
Is the only way we're
I feel very picked on by Zeb at this point in
Token
time.
whitehead.
Oh my goodness.
because I was the
I'm
token white guy.
1/42nd black, so
Hey, you called me an almond.
I did.
Yeah, see, so I'm okay.
This is pure almond joy.
Damn right. I'll give you my almond joy.
More than I needed. Thank
You asked for it.
No, I didn't.
Okay, who wants to speak up first?
I-
Well, actually, hold on. You're leaving first.
That is true.
So why don't you get your say out of the way?
I mostly liked it. I thought it was kind of what I thought it was going to be. If you see the trailer, that's pretty much the movie. But there were one or two little surprises that made it just interesting enough for me. Because I think everyone going in is thinking it's going to be they want to control the black people and whiten them up and stuff. And that's not really it. They want to actually kind of be them and use their abilities and stuff, which... What I like,
Sounds like they have superpowers.
no, but that's kind of
That is.
yeah, no, that's kind of how they
it
see
is.
that. And what I like about that is that they're, in their minds, I think Meg was saying this too, that they wouldn't see themselves as racist then.
Yeah.
You know, they bet, well, I like them and I want it, so clearly this is
I think positively about them.
yeah,
They're
so
better than
if
us.
I want to be them, so of course and that's just a wonderful, manipulative way of like tricking yourself into thinking, well, this isn't that bad. This isn't that big a deal. And then the only other thing I'll say that I like that surprised me about it, I didn't see it coming, is I don't know about you, but first thing popped in my head, I had the ending. Cops are gonna come, arrest the black guy, the white people are gonna get off scot-free, commentary made. And it looks like it's gonna go that route. The dude even gets his hands up like, okay, here we go. She's going, help me, and then the TSA guy gets out and I went, yay!
Yeah, see, I'm sorry. I thought that was dumb as shit. I think it would have been so much more relevant and more of a social commentary if all
that
he was
is how it
choking
went.
her.
Yeah.
He
Boom.
got shot, yeah. But
That would have been so much better.
Everyone would see that coming.
Right.
Yeah, but I
All
saw
of us were predicting that.
Maybe
I predicted his friend was pulling up.
Maybe they want
Come
to have
on, that was
okay.
painfully obvious.
But I-
Okay, see, I predicted
It kept going back to him, and then all of a sudden they stopped, and I'm like, okay, he's gonna show up, and I was expecting him to bust down the door and be like, "What up, bitches?"
Yeah, so the funny thing is,
Hold on.
I'm gonna.
Actually,
I was just gonna cut in and remark. So in this movie, being black is a superpower, kind of like in M. Night Shyamalan movies, being mentally ill is a superpower.
superpower.
Yes.
that makes sense.
Right.
See, I actually think the reason it does end that way and it doesn't end the other way is because it's not this type of social commentary I think that you think it is. It's not a social commentary about how it's more for people who are black than it is for us. This movie wasn't. I really felt like that. It kind of felt very. I spit on your grave for black people, and that's a horrible thing to say. But
It's not a horrible thing to say.
No, it's
it
not.
felt like a revenge film. I mean, in fact, the women who were sitting down to us, who were both black, cheered when he punched the guy to death, and I felt a little uncomfortable actually.
All right, I was like, kill that fucker.
No, I mean, I thought he deserved it. That's the funny thing is I really got the impression that the people
And I
in
was
here
clapping.
were white
Yeah, so was
that
I.
were bad, but then I'm hearing real people cheering for it made me feel like, okay, am I the bad guy in the world then?
Yes.
And I don't want to be the bad guy.
But no, but
Because they
that's-
were cheering for
but no,
violence.
but
Like
the
it's
thing
the
is, though-
reverse. Like
Yeah,
what makes
but
it
you
right?
bring up I spit on your
then
grave.
I thought about what you just said there, which
Yeah.
is, but look at it from the reverse point of view, and we're, people cheering for black people being hurt. And
But
I
no,
don't
the
think
thing is,
that's
is
cool
when
either.
you watch I
either.
Spit on
That's
Your
not
Grave,
cool either.
So,
and when she gets revenge on those assholes, you're not feeling sorry for them. It's
don't.
only when you
You
toss the
don't.
race part into it that we start feeling uncomfortable, because instead of
I
going,
know.
oh look, these are assholes that are getting what they deserve, it's like, no, wait a minute, should I be? No, you shouldn't. Assholes are assholes
No, I
depending
agree.
on
You're absolutely
race,
right.
creed, it doesn't matter. So for me, I was like, hell yeah, kick his fucking ass, he gets what he deserves.
They do, and again, I have to ask myself, would I have had that same reaction if they had not cheered?
Right, I was just going to say, I think what she's getting
And
at
I
is
really
people in the
wondered, and
audience
I've been
were
thinking about it the
cheering.
entire way home.
People in the audience were cheering when
And I
the,
thought
the
that
white
is
person was getting
not
the
what
crap
I
kicked
saw
out
on
of
the
them.
screen that made me uncomfortable.
Right.
Because they deserved it. They had it coming just like they do in I spit on your grave. I felt no sympathy for what they did.
Well, actually, you
what happened
see,
to
if the
them.
black man wasn't just so good at everything, then the white man didn't
this
want to
would
be
be a
them so
problem.
badly.
Well, see, there you go, and therein lies the problem. That's
Stop being so good.
I know.
That's the real truth behind this movie is
wish I
that
could.
all white people actually want to be black.
We just want to be
people, so-
black. We secretly just want to be. But I think you're raising
So wait,
a really good
now
point.
hold on.
Violence
Really
is
quick.
violence on either side.
Well, yeah. So is this one of those cases where once you go black, you cannot go back?
Well, no, a little bit if you can.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's actually hilarious. Yeah. So if you get a big flash in your face with your,
Just the brainstem.
just the brainstem will allow you to go back to being
So am I
black
to
or
understand
flash
this whole
with the
movie
camera.
was social commentary? I did not realize that. One of the things
See, I
that-
don't think it was just social commentary, but yeah.
One of the things
Not
that
close.
I thought was interesting here, though, is the way they structured this, and I'm not exactly sure how to explain this. But it's like it's almost like they were going different routes as far as how the family that he was visiting and their friends felt about black people, and it was because on one hand they're saying, oh well, you have these genetic abilities, but on the other hand they're obviously when you watch the movie you can tell they're singling out black people for this. It's not they have an Asian friend, he's not being singled out. They have tons of white friends. There's no other races that I can think of. I don't recall seeing any Hispanic people or anything like that. So it's obviously this one race, or it's black people. So if that's the case, then obviously if you admire them so much, how can you single them out for this? Mm-hmm. So you have this, this disconnect, and I think that was done intentionally.
Yeah.
But in addition to that, you also have the person who he is supposed to be the host for saying, well, is this racial? I don't know and I don't care. And it's like, first of all, how can you make that statement? It's obviously racial. It's obviously that you must care to a degree, because for him, yeah, he's just using it for.
I was going to say, actually,
the eyes,
ironically,
but-
I think in that instance, he's the only one.
Yeah,
He's the only one
he was
who
blind,
wasn't
so I
actually
didn't care.
racist.
But he's
And
so,
I don't no.
But he's still okay with this happening.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, of course.
So I have to wonder, if it was.
But he's okay with it happening to achieve his own goal.
True.
Which is
But-
narcissist at its best.
That's true. And I'm not saying you're wrong here,
Yeah.
but I do wonder if part of that plays into it too. It's something that it's bothered me because these things are at odds, and I'm sure it was set up to be at odds. Dan, you had
There are
something to say about
just
it?
one of the things is that there are one of the things that we have in American society is that we have this idea, for the most part, particularly white people have this idea that racism is prancing around in white sheets and a white hood and burning crosses on people's
not.
and there's different ways to be racist.
That's just what I call Friday night.
That's just Friday night at the Walker.
Yeah, thank you.
There is the sort of overt white supremacy racism, saying the N-word, but you can never say, there are people who can never say the N-word or whatever in public and still be racist.
Oh,
You can have a racist friend and still be racist.
Yeah, it's,
or not a racist friend.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, Dan, are you telling us something?
But then there's me who is white and can call my friend my nigga.
Well,
And that's
it
his
also
nickname
depends who
for
you
me.
talk to and how
Exactly.
close you are
And
to
that's-
that.
They might be
And
nice,
then I'm
but that's...
cracker.
No,
Right.
you're talking about people who say,
But that's being
I'm
done
not
ironically,
racist,
and
but-
both of you
Right,
understand
exactly.
that.
And that's
Right.
where
And
that's my point.
Right,
That's where
you
I'm
have
going with that.
you have a there's the rapport there. And
We
you
do
know
that
what
in
you
public,
need.
though. We get looked at, and I'm just like,
Well,
what the
yeah,
fuck? I
because
don't
it's
care,
not the
but I
norm,
don't care, but
it's
And I
it's
don't-
an understanding
You know.
between you two
Yes.
Right.
that this is, in its
Right.
own way, social commentary.
Right.
Right. And that's kind of the thing about this, is that I think that is there to say there are different ways to be racist.
Yeah.
There's overt racism. There's the sort of
insidious.
Yes.
the more kind of insidious. There's the sort of awkward racism, which
Yeah.
you see quite a bit.
like this
in the-
movie.
No,
which you
it's
see quite a bit in like the party sequence where people are basically good and looking
Yeah.
at Chris as if he's like a circus freak.
Yep.
Right.
Like he's
Yep.
and
But they say
what is the
things-
what is the black experience?
Yeah, I mean-
feeling his muscles and all
Well,
that.
and even smaller things. When he
Get it
first
in, babe.
arrives, before they've established this conspiracy or this group. When he goes into the house, then the father's showing him around. What does he say? He says to him, "Oh, you'll like this. Here's a picture of my father. He was beaten by Jesse Owens."
Right.
You know, but just that little statement. You'll like this.
I have
the
found that.
implication. You'll like this because he
when
was a
he
black.
says I would vote. I would have
Yeah.
voted. For
I would have voted
I would have voted for
Third
Obama
time.
for a third term,
And
which
it's-
started out as a funny
Tiger-
gag, kind
the
of,
Tiger
but
Woods comment.
the implications get
Too.
take darker meanings as the film goes on.
Well, the Tiger Woods comment too, where where the one guy says, "I think Tiger Woods is one of the greatest golf players," and if you watch golf,
Yes.
you actually know that Tiger Woods is actually not. one of
Well,
the
he
best
was
golf-
great
He
for
was
a period,
great.
and since then
He
his
went off his game. but
yes, his
regardless,
game has gone downhill.
The point is
but
that his
yes.
way of saying "I'm okay with black people" is
Right.
because I admire a
and
black person.
and
That
once
is-
again, these
his
were
athleticism.
the way the
Yes.
statements were crafted
Yes.
into the movie. These were
Yeah.
obviously intentional.
very well done.
and
actually.
and very much so, very similar to the whole thing is the Stephen Root character, the blind art dealer who is being prepped to have his brain transferred into Daniel Kaluuya's head. Chris's head, which is easier to say than Daniel Kaluuya's head. Is this sort of idea of that kind of represents to me? It kind of represents that sort of particular white privilege that is what I understand that white privilege has put me where I am, and I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And that is without being that is in itself. Even if you can say I have black friends, I think black people are the same as white people. That in itself is a form of racism.
Yeah.
Because I have to go the earliest, I just want to know what this side of the table thinks.
I was kind of
barely
wondering
heard
that myself. I was literally just thinking that myself, to be honest with you.
What?
I think I would like to switch brains with Zev.
It's
I don't want to
It's a fucking madhouse up here.
I want to switch
I don't want,
bodies.
and I don't want
No,
your
I
body.
want
I don't want your
brains.
body. Well, maybe
I want my brain put in Bradley
Yeah.
Cooper's body. Then
That's
women
the
would
thing.
love me.
I want to say
Actually,
one
probably
thing really
wouldn't.
quick about the
I just
whole
shared a bottle with a
racism.
black man.
You may get
Now you've got melanin.
germs. You know you're gonna get pregnant from that,
I'm
right?
gonna get pregnant.
That's how
You're
potent
going to
it
get
is.
chlamydia from it.
One thing I found interesting about the
in the mouth, it's called
racism
thrush. Never
is,
mind that.
if you notice in the beginning, what I really liked is that he was the one that was thinking racistly. If you look at it, oh, they're not going to like me because I'm black. They're not going to like me because... And it's just like, why would I even bring it up? There's no point. She had... And I mean, you find out, of course, later on
Right.
why. But the way it was set up, she was like, why
was
would I
good.
need to even bring it up? There's no point. And it kind of shows that he's instantly looking at it like,
He
I'm a
was
black
too.
person,
He
I'm an
was too.
outsider. Oh my god, they're just going to hate me because I'm black. But the first form of racism they come across is what?
But no,
The cop.
The cop.
We have completely ignored the cop.
That's
Yeah,
a good
I know.
point.
I
At
was
the
going to bring
beginning,
the cop
it's the
up.
most
I was going to bring
painfully
the cop
obvious
up.
form of racism that
Yeah.
everyone sees.
Yeah.
I do love when he's like,
that's a
"Kid,
great point."
I see your ID," and he's like, "Oh, okay." And it's the white person with that whole almost white guilt going, no, my black friend don't need to show off his stuff, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But the black guy's like, whatever, I don't really
And-
care, you know?
Yeah, and,
Right,
and
he's
from
like,
a
whatever.
not speaking to the racism of that, because I think you're entirely right. That's a great point. But I thought that was an interesting way of showing it up, and it double whammies when it circles back to the end of the film when those cops are coming. You have it in your mind. Is this the cop?
Is that
who's
the
gonna
same
show
cop?
up?
I kind of was thinking that too in that cop.
And then, but so
Yeah.
from that point, if you notice the racism, so it peaks
Yeah.
with
Yes,
that.
right.
And then
Yeah.
the racism is this slow, like, okay, it's not too bad. They're just kind of idiot white folks,
Yeah.
yada, yada, yada. But then it does this peak back up, like, okay, wait a minute. Now this is a little bit more awkward. Now this is to the
This is
point
really-
where it
really
gets
awkward.
literally to a slave auction.
Right.
Yes.
So you see the most prominent, normal, common kind of racism in today's society, and then it kind of peaks back up to the most common form of racism way back when. Kind of like, yeah, this is
slavery.
what we're at, but is it really much
Yeah.
different than that?
This might be
Yes.
science involved, but it's
Yeah.
still racism and slavery like
Yeah.
it was.
And it's hidden.
Well,
That's
It's hidden behind the bingo
It's
card.
not-
You can't even hear them. They're not even
it's not,
verbal.
but-
They're hiding it, right?
Yeah.
Right,
Well-
they're hiding it. They're trying to hide it.
I'm going to circle back to something that was said earlier when Doug was talking and Dan specifically. Amy and I were talking earlier on today, ironically. I came into this movie not knowing what it was about. I knew
Yeah.
the title and that was it.
We didn't even see
So I had expected a haunted house or a slasher film, and it really wasn't either, but I really enjoyed it. Before when we were out this morning, we were talking about incidental racism and how, people were thinking, how a lot of people think, oh, I'm not, a member of the KKK. I don't lynch people. I don't call them the N-word. No. So therefore, I'm not racist. But racism isn't an on-off switch like that. No. It's a sliding scale. It's a continuum, and it was something that I thought that it was handled very well in this movie. That you don't just see, oh, they're the black person, they're wrong. No, instead it's, here's a black person, and they're our daughter's friend, and look how much we love them. We're going to give them a hug as soon as they show up, even though we know nothing about this person. It's almost like, I'm trying to think of how to phrase this, but it's an overcompensation.
It's unnatural. It's unnatural.
Yes.
It's unnatural.
It's guilt racism.
Yes. It's unnatural.
It's racism because of the guilt for what people did in the past.
Right. Yeah. Now the other thing.
Hold on. Let's Zeb, because he's taken off over there, and he wants to hear from the only black person. Oh, wait a minute! Holy shit!
No.
There's another black person here.
Really? Where?
No, I always remember
introduce
Belize
him.
more than I remember.
I think it's the guy who's eating tacos.
Someone who just showed up here is.
My name's Orlando Belial Jr., but you guys can call me Lando.
Okay, go on. The only black person here, Zeb.
The more black person.
The more black.
No one will ever know I'm black. Listen to me say something. 4. Catalytic.
The more black.
Catalytic?
That's the best.
Buick LeSabre. Grand Marquis.
Okay, Zeb, you may speak now. I'm finally letting you speak.
Thank you, sir.
Speak now.
You're letting the black man speak finally. Thank you, Master.
Hey. Now, woman, you need to stop talking. Just remember.
I do.
Just remember.
I need to remember my place.
Just remember, sir. You gotta shine my other shoe.
Wow.
Go on.
We went there.
Go on, my friend. I guess.
There was. That's one. That's more than one word. No, you're done.
Oh my God.
I blew it.
Go ahead.
There was so much packed into this movie.
There was.
And a lot of it, the part that sucks is that a lot of times white people really don't know they're being racist. They have no idea. And in that instance, it's going to be a shock. You're not being racist. And that's the thing. Like, it's the fear that they have been racist or erred on the side of like some type of racial insensitivity that then kind of makes them backtrack. Like, shit, should I say that? Like, maybe I shouldn't have said it that way. Well, it's okay because I've got some other black friends. So it's like, fuck, you were you were almost out of the friend zone, and you fucked it back up, and now you're not getting to second base. So that's how it works. But the cool part of that is that this, as suck as this is, the whole plot of the film is, it comes from a very deep-seated admiration for black people and their physical prowess and their ability to run or jump or perform faster or better than someone else. And out of that very misguided admiration comes a full fucking brain transplant, apparently. But
and hypnotism.
Yeah, but like the part of that that is an everyday thing for me is when people are trying, not necessarily not to seem racist, but they're trying to tell you how they feel about you and your contribution and your culture, and they're trying and failing miserably. Oh, son of a bitch.
Oh, go on.
Where are my
That's hilarious.
Oh, no.
That's hilarious. That's not the right pitch.
Why am I sinking into the couch?
You're not on the couch. That makes it even better.
Oh, no.
Because you're in the video for Billy Joel's Pressure.
But yeah, the thing about that for me is an everyday thing is like you see people trying to tell you stuff like Once Upon a Time, which I'm sure no one here can probably tell because I've recently crossed into the Midland Krusty the Clown, George Jefferson phase of balding, where there's like a small hair island at the front, and there's a lot of hair in the back, but that middle horseshoe is just kind of fading off. But once upon a time, I had a fuck ton of hair. And
much
I
hair?
did like a fuck ton.
That's a ton of fuck.
Is it metric or?
It is a metric ton.
But just keep in mind, he didn't fuck a ton. He just got to fuck a ton.
Well, when I
He
had
might
the
have
hair,
fucked a ton
yes.
Porn
Fat
stars
girls
look
need
out.
love too. The point is, what the main part of that was that people wanted to touch my hair a lot, and the part of that is that they didn't want to seem like it was a novelty or it was something weird. But I know it's an experience you don't normally have.
Yeah.
So for me, it wasn't a huge deal, but like, it was something that I could tell they were scared that it would be offensive or like just weird or come off super creepy. Someone sniffing my hair, whole different thing. That shit was creepy.
Does that mean that's off later?
Actually, I'm
Like
gonna,
whatever's left up here, you all can have at it.
it actually
And
was
it
a
was
little
might have just
get
been
the
out of
clippers.
curiosity. And it could
I'm
have been
gonna
out of
say
genuine
akin to-
curiosity.
Akin to being pregnant. Like when I was
Yeah.
pregnant, and like strange people wanted to come up and touch my butt. I'm like, don't you touch me?
Yeah.
Do not. Off limits. This is my belly.
That's
No touchy.
Get in my
No
bed.
touchy.
That's interesting you mentioned the hair thing, and it kind of sounds like what you're getting at a little bit is like it might actually be more of a natural curiosity for something they're not familiar with, or they're interested, or they're intrigued. It's not so much like, I want your body and I'm going to put my brain in your head because I want your body. It's more like,
Usually it's not like that.
It's just trying to understand. It's not out of ignorance, really. It's trying to not be ignorant.
It's
They're
not the
trying to
whole thing
understand.
of, I heard your hair was like, sheepskin. Let me feel it. It's not that. It's just, okay, I felt my hair for 1,000 years.
Right.
Yours is different. Can I see what
Your
yours
type
is
of
like?
hair-
I want
your
to see
hair
what your
type
hair's
is
like. And I want to see
different.
what your hair's like.
I've had many
Freshly cut, thank you.
Nice.
And it's funny you mentioned the hair issue because I literally just had a friend, and yes, I'm going to pull the whole like my friend's black line, but I mean it's important because clearly Caucasians and African Americans and blacks have different hair textures.
They
It's
do.
bottom line, period. Duh. It's just science.
Yeah.
Okay, so my friend Celeste, she regularly plays with my hair. She'll nobody cares.
My
She will
daughter,
literally
yeah.
come up behind me and do this
They
to my
do.
and stroke
My
my
daughter-
No, but it doesn't bother me. It probably maybe it should bother me.
It's different for.
But
I assume it's different
I'm
for
just
you as
assuming
well.
it's
so.
I don't tell her to stop. It's
Now
not
we are
weird.
aware.
I just-
We are aware. This it actually depends on the person.
I think I don't want to walk up to a random
Because-
stranger and be like, "Can I?"
Yeah, well,
touch
sure.
I'll be
your
honest with
hand?"
you. I've had people touch my hair and they weren't white. They were Hispanic. They were Asian.
They were
Yeah.
right.
It
right.
really is more the person. Honestly, truthfully, I can look past the color.
Yeah,
As far as I'm concerned.
My daughter's
when I saw the movie,
She
as-
always wants to touch my hair, and we talk about it because her mom puts braids in her hair.
I'm touching her
and
hair.
she comes over and one of her braids came out, and
Is this Mariah?
oh my lord! And
yeah.
eventually she told me to stop because she's like, "Can you fix it?" And I'm inept with white people hair, let alone. And I
still
was like,
try it, trust
I'm
me,
like,
I
"Oh,
mean,
sweeter, I have no idea what I'm doing."
What if that gets
And I
back
feel
to the
really bad 'cause
admiration thing
no,
we were talking
I
about a
actually
little
just
bit,
don't know
too?
how to braid hair. I'm not.
I don't know how to braid hair.
I don't know how to braid hair.
My wife's hair
at
is
all,
very,
actually.
very curly, so
I've never had braided
She's got
hair
awesome
in my
hair.
entire life.
Yeah,
so
but
I
as
have
far as
no
trying to
idea
braid
what
it,
it's
no
like.
way.
I've
There's
never
no way
braided my
you ever
girlfriend's
could.
hair.
I
So
guess you
she's
could
asked me to braid
straighten it
and I'm
somehow,
just
but it would be like a day later. It would just
I
be.
have no idea how to
Okay, hold on.
Yes.
We're getting off of the subject, and we're talking a whole shit ton about hair.
Yeah.
Well,
No, it's
The-
actually
That's true.
Admiration. We're kind of getting back. Oh, my
The-
mom's calling. Sorry.
like the main thing is that a lot of things that people are afraid of coming off as racist or whatnot, it's literally like the approach. I'm pretty sure there isn't a single person here that would object to someone wanting to give them oral sex, but the thing is, somebody can't just walk up like, "So you're gonna take your pants down so I can?" And it's like, what the fuck is this? Like, it's the approach. It's not the act. It's the approach. And if the approach always comes off as awkward or unsure, and it's a confidence thing to a degree. And it's like, I don't mind, like, if someone doesn't know something about me, or whether it's a race thing or a physical thing or whatever else, that's fine. Just don't approach me like I may end up in a dumpster behind a Denny's, and we're okay.
Right, you're getting my brain removed from my head.
Again, just because I'm going to, I just want to know what Vince thought.
He's out for now. He said he'll speak up when he wants
That's
to.
great. Lando, what'd you think?
Ah, shit. I mean, I'll go on.
Well, if you must know,
Okay, I'm going to leave it in like 5
All the
minutes.
white
That's
people-
why, yeah, that's
all
why
the-
I'm moving that
I
along.
have
I'm
one other
sorry.
thing I want to ask
The
you when
lesser
it's
of the
done,
black
because I'm
people.
curious about
Okay,
one thing
okay.
that happened.
all the white people were awesome in that movie.
Who that sucked was that black guy?
Honestly, as far as the movie itself is concerned, I liked it. I liked it. I think it was solid. I think it was unique that Jordan Peele, a comedian, decided to go a different approach. And what you could see in that is that he had an idea. He had an idea that he wanted to bring to the table. It wasn't like a Hollywood movie where it's just like, oh, let me just throw this in and do something with it. He wanted something. He had an original idea, original concept, and he wanted to bring it to the table. Everything else to me just feels like a little bit of filler. It feels like, okay, I wanted to talk about black and white and racial, all that stuff. I think he really just wanted to make a unique movie. A movie that's about, hey, I'm stuck here, I'm trapped with this family, I need to get out of here. And adding the black-white feature was just an addition to it. But overall, he wanted to make something cool, something different.
Yeah.
That's what I saw.
And I think that kind of gets to the point that I was going to try to bring up when he was talking about admiration, and we talked a lot about race, but there's an element, and I don't know, Jordan, how much research he did on this, but there's definitely an element of like a Joseph Mengele Nazi doctor kind of feel to this movie. There's a psychological element that hasn't been brought up yet in terms of like narcissism and wanting to exert power and control in a superhuman race and all that kind of stuff, and make sure that your progeny are taken care of and you leave something in the world. So, I mean, that's about race. It's true.
I wish they would have developed some of those ideas a little more.
Whether it's Jewish, or in this case, it was definitely blacks. In a movie called Extreme Measures, a doctor uses the homeless people in New York for his experimentation. I think there was a huge psychological element beyond race, the actual racial issue of power, control, exerting, wanting admiration, wanting, it's, I maybe because I'm into psychology, that's why I saw that bigger picture of the narcissist Joseph Mengele aspect, but that was like an almost overall-arching thing. And that scene, and I brought this up with Lackey, there was a scene right towards the end where she is the lady, what's her name? Rose. She did a great job because a lot of times people who are narcissists or whatever, I don't know, she's a
Are you talking Rose, the mom or the daughter?
Daughter.
Oh, yeah.
Girlfriend.
Rose.
The girlfriend,
Yeah,
Rose.
Yeah.
A lot of times if somebody is actually narcissist, part of that's because, or can be related to being stuck at a certain stage of emotional development as a child or as an adolescent. They don't progress in their moral development or what have you. There's a scene in that where she's sitting there having her Fruit Loops and her milk with her ponytail, and she's like, I'm like 5 years old. So I kind of thought that was cool. I think maybe Jordan, he did kind of pick up on a bit of that overarching psychological foundation beyond the race. Maybe I'm just reading way too much into that. I thought it would have been so much better
if she was drinking chocolate milk.
KO, maybe.
No, it wouldn't. Because she basically devours black people and uses them as if they're nothing. It would have been so good.
To achieve what? To achieve a goal, to power, admiration, everything.
What if the Fruit Loops?
Oh boy.
and the milk. That's what she was eating.
It was Fruit Loops and milk.
What if this is a symbolism of separatism?
What if it was the milk and the cereal weren't together?
They weren't together. That's true.
I did think that was a little
crap!
weird.
I do that occasionally. Shit.
I do that all the time.
I do that all the time.
Well, I will eat cereal without the milk, but generally not. Only when I'm out of milk.
And if you're going to go that route, I'll add to that theory.
Go for it.
She wasn't just eating them with a spoon either. She was eating them one at a time, slowly. If you took a look, it
like
was
a little
crunch.
kid would do.
But not just like a little kid. But if you're talking about the symbolism of devouring, symbolically a black person, one by one, slowly.
Yep, the Fruit Loops could represent.
I think we're looking a bit too deep into that.
You know what? I have a degree in English. It's what I do.
It was those little things. Now I remember. I actually was watching Andre Black. I was watching Andre Blacknerd talk about the little things in that movie. He talked about those very little things that you don't think about that didn't seem like it made any sense, and then boom, it actually does make sense.
There was garlic outside of one of their doors. Why do they have garlic outside of their door?
My problem with that is, it's like the guy who wrote. What was it? Room 237. The
Stephen King one.
No, the movie
the
on
Shining.
The documentary.
Who took every tiny piece of that movie and broke it down like everything was planned. Sorry, I don't care how much you like Kubrick. He did not go that far every time.
The skiing poster and all that. Yeah, that was.
So I'm sorry, and Hitchcock didn't even go that far.
As Freud said, sometimes a cigar is just a cigar.
Sometimes
banana is just a banana. Right, exactly.
And that's my thing is that, no, hold on, what I wanted to ask, the question I wanted to ask Doug before he left, and Zeb, you too, because it would kind of affect you. So we're talking racism throughout the movie and everything, yada, yada, yada. Now, one racism I found very interesting is when he went up to the only black man there and was like, hey, nice to see another brother.
Yeah.
And he does the fist bump and like a guy grabs his hand. isn't that just as racist?
I thought the
to
same
instantly
damn thing.
imagine and know, oh, he's a black guy.
So he's
obviously he's going to talk this way. He's going to act the way that I do, and he's going to fist bump. Now, later on, when he attacked him and said, "Get out," he's like, "Oh my God, I recognized him."
Right.
Now, if when he first saw him, he recognized him, said, "Oh my God, I know you. You grew up there," that would make sense.
That would be
but just
different, right?
instantaneously assuming that he's gonna talk quote unquote black
Right.
and act quote unquote black, isn't that just as racist as
But
the
black
white
people,
folks?
but black people can't be racist. That's just wrong.
And all
But that's
Yeah.
what
Yes,
I'm
I
curious
think it
about.
is.
It's one of those things I thought was
I mean,
ignored.
what I'll say real quick, because I gotta go here real soon, is that, I mean, for me, when I saw that, I sort of saw that as a little bit of comedy, because there's surprisingly not much comedy in this.
Actually, there's too much comedy.
I thought there was
hate the
too
fucking
much.
Really?
comedy.
I liked it.
I mean, okay, for Jordan Peele, knowing what he does, I was kind of shocked how little comedy was in here. But when I saw that, I saw like a little bit of comedy. Oh man, can I, good to see another brother here and stuff. And then he doesn't do the fist bump and everything. But in terms of what you were saying before about I didn't recognize him, I think it's because he had the flash, and suddenly like the real guy can get out. Where he saw him before with the eyes and everything. It's like he's there, but it's like, but he's not seeing him.
No, but that's what I'm saying. When he first sees him, he's like, "Oh, it's just another black guy. I'm glad to see a black guy here." Then later on, when the flash goes off, that's when he
No, those
says,
are two
"I
different guys.
No.
No,
they're not.
No,
They are not.
No,
they're the
but
same guy.
No, the first time he says, "I'm glad to see another brother here," is actually to the groundskeeper.
No. It was
No.
the guy with the hat
No.
who they tried to
They're
fist
talking
bump
about at the
around.
party.
At the party, yes.
The white,
No,
the black guy with the white old lady.
Oh, you mean at the party?
At the party.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
thought you meant the area in general.
No.
The guy
That's
that
the first
he's
time
the
where
guy
we
in the
talk to
beginning.
him
who
as
got- right.
another black person, not as
Yeah.
oh, there's the help.
I
It's just
Yeah.
instant assumption that oh my God, yeah, you're black,
Right.
so you're gonna be.
see that a little bit
black.
more
Could it
like.
have been that? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, well, kind of like how, you were saying, like, I call my friend, Nick all the time and stuff like that. We got an understanding and stuff. And that's sort of what I saw as kind of like an understanding.
Well,
and he's kind of-
I think
But he didn't
part of that
rec-
too is to get a.
But he
That's
didn't.
not-
But he didn't actually recognize him, so he can't.
Right.
You can't
Here's
he
what-
wasn't-
here's
he
what-
didn't have
here's
that
the deal.
familiarity.
But that is like the quote unquote
Here's the thing we didn't. Here's the thing we're not recognizing though. He felt uncomfortable throughout that entire time.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
He felt uncomfortable how they were profiling him, how
Right.
they were looking at him.
Right.
He felt really uncomfortable. So when he saw another black person,
That was
he
the point
realized,
in the storm, kind of.
"Woo, okay, I can finally relate to someone I can relate to."
Maybe
someone
he's
I-
going through the same thing.
But what I'm
Maybe.
trying to say about that, I understand that, and
Yeah,
I get that.
right.
But the same thing can be said about a white person surrounded by a bunch of black people. That's like, I like Tiger Woods, I swear, because they're so uncomfortable. What I'm saying is,
Watch
just
the No
because you
Witness
see
News.
someone who's white, don't instantly assume they're from the suburbs.
Right.
They
Right,
could be
yeah.
more gangsta than the black person sitting over here. And that's what
true.
I'm saying. He
Well,
instantly assumed.
It was a natural instinct. It's a natural instinct. We would have done that if we were in different
Well,
classes.
I think from a
we saw a
storytelling
high class
point of view,
if we
With
saw
that's it, guys. I do have to get going. I'm
Okay.
so sorry. So I'll see you.
Fine jerk.
All right, man.
have a good one, Doug.
good riddance.
Take care.
Talk to you
Bye-bye.
soon. From a storytelling point of view, I think part of that wasn't just meant to be comedy. It's he did the
I
fist
didn't
bump.
think it was for comedy.
Right, okay.
I thought it was more for the reaction of,
Yeah.
oh, holy shit, this guy is kind of not really
Yeah,
normal.
yeah. Why? Exactly. When he fist bumps, why would you try to shake somebody's hand instead?
Yeah.
You know that it's a once again there's that
Oh, like it's an
disconnect.
element for the movie.
Yeah, and it's
It was
another
used as
clue
an
that
element.
something's wrong
It was used
here.
as
I
a-
get what you're
It
asking,
was used for plot development,
Yeah.
really.
and the answer to that question, and it's not that black people can't be racist, and it's not that
No, I was curious if that was the point of it, though.
No.
Was that's what almost saying, yeah, see, everyone can kind of be a little bit racist without even realizing it.
well, no, like as someone who's black, like that's I didn't direct it. I'm just saying, like, personally, I don't feel that was the purpose in that.
Right.
There are moments that show up in a lot of other movies where a guy is in like a weird setting
Excellent.
where he feels
Welcome
completely
back.
out of
Hold on.
place.
Oh, so you had to make some huge announcement that you're
Yeah, I pretty much
Now
took
you're
control of
back.
the whole podcast. You moved everything around, and
Did you
I'm
see
just
this
like, okay,
shit?
guess what? I can stay.
Go on, sorry.
So it's honestly like any other movie where you see a guy who's kind of set apart from everyone else, like blue collar guy at like a fancy party.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
And
That's
you
what I
see
was
some
saying.
guy behind the bar, and he's like, "Hey man, can you just give me a fucking beer?" And he's like, "We don't serve beer here, sir." Like that, honestly, is the same reaction. It's just a different setting.
Yes. Yes.
I was,
As a black person, there's a very big social disconnect because you may be into the same pop culture things, like I watch Game of Thrones, like whatever, but the way certain things are viewed and the way things are discussed and the way you find humor in certain things, like there's a part in 12 Years a Slave where one of these overseers are singing "Run, Nigga, Run," and he's like doing it as a joke, and I'm laughing, and people next to me that are white are super offended, like, I don't believe he's not taking this seriously, and I'm like,
Take whatever
you
want.
don't understand where the humor is in that for me.
For you, right. That's
Everybody
right.
views it through their own lens.
Take it
So,
whatever way you want.
That's why I was asking.
So at that moment, at that party, is like it's an experience that most black people have when you're out in public and there's a lot of other people and you're at like a social gathering or an event or you're just out in a crowd full of people where I've like nodded or given like a head shake to another guy across the way. I don't know him from a hole in the ground, but the first question somebody who's with me will ask me, "Oh, do you know that guy?" I'm like, no. Like there's a recognition and a commonality that you are also kind of an island among yourself out here among like a sea full of other people that don't necessarily relate to your personal experience with life.
I was just having this conversation with somebody about not racism, it's something called like it's racial bias. Like if you get on an L, and like let's say you're like one of like very few Hispanic folks on there, and then you see another Hispanic person get on there, you might find yourself migrating a little bit closer to the person that you're better able to relate to. Is that racist?
No.
No,
It's a
not.
search for
That's not.
common.
You're looking more. You're looking more on the class.
Right.
You're
Right.
looking more on what they. You're looking at a person on how they carry themselves,
Yeah, and
not
that's
necessarily what they look like.
Is it carry themselves or is it like comfort? You grew up around
Or both,
said
of
race
course.
or
It's
people.
or both?
Of course.
It's
Yeah, it's both. It's both.
In both, it's a form of commonality. What were you saying, Dan? Sorry.
You're in a situation, and I feel this a lot because I have social anxiety. You're in a situation where you feel you're in a group of people and you feel you are different from everybody else in some way that people can sense. And in this case, this is literally, Chris literally sticks out in this group of people because at this point we haven't seen the Asian friend, the older who has one line and is never seen or heard from again, and we haven't met Logan / Dre. And the point is that this guy is a sore thumb, and he sticks out like a sore thumb because everyone around him is white. And when you feel you stick out, when you feel that you are different in a group of things that are always the same, you're going to try to search for some sort of something. You're gonna either
Commonality.
You're gonna look for something with commonality.
Nobody likes to feel exposed like that, and that's really what it feels like. Because I also have social anxiety, so I know that in me it feels like everybody, whether they are or not, is looking at you
And judging you.
and judging you. And
They were deliberately judging.
Oh,
you.
yeah.
like the deer on the wall.
Yes.
Like the deer on the wall.
And
That
actually,
was
but
pretty
that's good because I think you want that atmosphere, as I think that increases your sense of unease watching the movie, because all through the time when you meet, and maybe this is a stereotype, but when you first meet the help, they just seem very Stepford wives to me.
Actually,
That's what I
you
thought.
got a lot of influence from the Stepford
Absolutely.
wives.
The first
have
thing
a
I
question
said
about this,
was black
but
that
that
was
was-
very
oh.
Stepford.
I was
the way that they acted, it wasn't that I felt like they didn't act like black people. They felt like they didn't act like real
They didn't act like
Yes.
humans.
Like
Yeah.
any
I was referring to
Right,
that
any
film
person.
mentally in my head for about until the whole
Yeah.
brain swapping thing came in.
Yeah,
I was referring to the
Stepford
film in my head as the Stepford Negroes.
Well, I thought even the white people were like Stepford, though.
Oh, they
Hold on,
were.
Doug, go
They
ahead.
really
I was gonna
were.
say, just going back a little bit, like what we were talking about with finding commonality. I mean, I always sort of say, well, if I was in a similar situation, just something like like I'm in Tokyo or something like that, or Japan, or some place where the culture is very different. There's even a different language and stuff like that. If I was to find like a white dude in like a party, I probably would go up and be like, oh hey, someone else, and not something that's like, oh, I hate all these people. It's not something like that, but yeah, there is kind of that commonality, and I have no idea. Maybe this guy would turn around, speak Japanese, doesn't speak a word of English. I don't know, but there is kind of this thing where it's like, yeah, I think when you do see the commonality, you do go out a little bit on a limb because you just immediately want to make a connection because you do kind of want to find someone that you have something.
But you're making the connection not based out of racism, though. It's based out of needing to bond and have a connection with a
It could be
fellow human
racism. It
being.
could be anything.
Yeah.
My mother's from Louisiana, so when I went there back in 2015 to visit, my aunt passed away. I went there, and I felt really out of place. Not just because of my skin, but also my accent. I felt all that. I was like, oh my god, oh my god.
Yeah, if you're
So,
down,
and it's not just race. It's just territory. It's instant.
Yeah.
Go down to the root of it all. It's just instinctual. It doesn't have to be race. Race is just filler,
And-
it's all filler.
And that's kind of the point at which the film, kind of steps outside it. I don't know if I would say it steps out. Well, I'm trying to say it steps outside itself, but it's sort of like that's the point where I think the members of the audience who are not black, I think that's kind of where we're kind of intended to feel kind of a certain amount of sympathy for Chris in that point, because I think all of us at some point or another, no matter what race, gender, and so forth we are, whatever we are, we all have been in a situation, or we feel we have been in a situation where we are the one thing that sticks out. We are the one thing that sticks out in a group of conformity.
Yes.
yes.
Right.
Yeah, and it's like I said, it's not necessarily that moment is possible because the people around him are white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that they're super inappropriate.
Yes.
Like everything
They're super
about
weird,
them is
period.
fucking
They're not
just
awkward.
They are going
inappropriate.
out of their way
Right.
to demonstrate their difference.
If you actually even think
Yeah,
about it,
they're
what's
separate
interesting,
a little bit
a lot of their
themselves, they really
clothing was actually very light.
Yeah, and
Most of them weren't wearing dark clothing.
Oh,
if
no,
you actually think
actually,
back.
what I noticed is when
The
they
black
first
cars,
came out, the black
yeah.
cars, and a lot of them were
all
the
of them.
clothing
It
moved
looked like
because when you
it
first
looked
saw
like they were
them,
coming from a
they were all
funeral.
coming out,
And
coming out of
every
the field.
single
And then it moved to
person
reds,
wears
and then
black
to the
and
lighter
white.
clothing. And I did
Did you
notice
notice?
that.
Oh yeah, tons
That
of
was
neutral
interesting.
colors.
Everyone at the party.
Except for Stephen Root's character,
Yeah,
who was wearing the black suit.
Yes,
Yeah.
right. I had another thought too. Does age have anything to do with this movie, or age, I don't want to say ageism, but like generational thinking?
Well, no,
or
that's why
gaps in
grandma.
generations?
That's why grandma and grandpa
What does that
were
play in
put
this
into the
movie?
bodies. They needed to stay young.
Yes.
They didn't want
Well, what about but if you notice, the majority of the folks there were all what? How old were they?
They
No,
were
but
older.
they're also, I think that's it too, they get to the end of their lives, they want to
Yeah,
keep
they-
living.
There's a-
So
No,
it
I
makes
think
sense.
all
They're the
I think
target
what she's
audience for
asking-
Coagula.
What does that got to do with
I
the
think what
racial
she's
aspect?
more or less asking
Right.
is it kind of like that whole thing of it's like, yes, this is kind of the last bastion of these old racist
Yes, that's kind of where I'm
Yeah.
getting at.
and
Yeah,
it's
that's
like
where
they
I'm
need
going.
to kind of hold on to their almost racism and their lifestyle.
Yeah.
So we need to do this however we possibly can.
Yeah.
They
They're
passed
Is
it
that
on-
kind of what you
Yes,
mean?
that's where I was going.
They,
with it.
they,
Yes,
they
thank you.
understand
Yeah.
that what they are, their culture, their way of life is dying.
Yep.
And they are, gee, I wonder how that might
Well, if
translate.
you can't beat them, join them.
Well, they did a great job passing it on to their children.
You know,
There you
I
go.
wonder
We
how,
wonder how
I
it
wonder if there's
continues.
anything going on in the real world right now that could compare to
Well,
that.
like I said, when I was
No
at my
chance.
when I was at my
No.
grandfather's,
Certainly not in the government.
Certainly not.
course.
I was at my grandfather's and in Louisiana, and we're sitting there talking and everything. I'm like, oh, I'm going down to the store and pick up some comics. And he's like, okay, well, watch out for them coloreds. I'm like,
Right.
oh my god, I was married and everything at this point in time,
God.
and I'm like, oh my
Everyone's
god.
offended us. Black folks are like, that's hilarious.
I'm sitting there, I'm like, why are you
Nah,
saying this? You're so
it
old.
actually
Stop
does
being
not
an
feel
idiot.
good from our point of view.
No, it doesn't.
Part of what makes
See,
it
and I
funny
can actually
Yeah.
deal with it.
It is
I
a
can-
is that he
generation
means
thing.
well.
I was just,
Well,
yeah, depending on who
Like,
I don't know about that.
Part of,
Oh,
that,
yeah.
part of what makes that funny is that he means what he literally is just like
He really
oh,
feels
my
that
poor
way.
girl.
Yeah.
And it's like you can't you laugh in part because it's like I can't believe this, but you also laugh because it's like you poor misguided.
Yes,
Right,
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
I mean,
yeah.
what I find
And
really interesting
I think part of this is, obviously they were brought up in a different time period. There was segregation at that point.
Yeah.
But I think even
used
after
different words,
segregation
period.
went away, there wasn't, while society technically was integrated, okay, they're shopping in the same
Yeah, but
stores
there's
or
not like
using
a
the same
guide.
water,
There's
but
no
they're not.
guidebook,
But they're
right?
probably
Yeah.
not, going out making
grudge
friends
is still there.
Well, the grudge, I wouldn't even say a grudge, but it's like they're not making friends with people. They're seeing them as another race, not another individual human being.
Agree to disagree sort of
we can have differences and be friends. We can have different experiences and be friends even through different cultural lenses, and that strengthens us as a country,
But
as a
that
society.
does translate to other areas. I mean, the old guard, and I actually don't feel like the older people in there was the old guard. I actually felt like they just didn't want to die, and that they did this because they didn't want to die.
Mortality.
But I hate what he's saying is that the
narcissist
old guard is that my entire life I have never been raised in a time period where women didn't have the right to vote.
Yes.
Or I didn't go to school with a black person. When I went to upstate Wisconsin, which is damned white, let me tell you, I'm walking around and I'm like, I can tell something's wrong with this town.
And we couldn't
Can't
figure it out. Yep.
And then I realized that there's no black people there, and I've been around black people my entire life, and it feels wrong to me
Well,
to
you
be
don't
in a place where they aren't
you don't understand
there.
the problems until you take a step back.
Oh yeah,
You don't see what's going on until you take a step back.
Absolutely.
Whereas
put yourself
compared
right
to
in the middle of it.
compared to when I grew up, I didn't have a black classmate at school until I got to high school.
See, and I
Seriously, there were in
Never been
the
in this
entire
situation.
time,
See, I'm
the entire
from the
4
city,
years in
so-
high school, I think there were 3 black students across 4 years.
He grew up in Elmhurst.
Are you?
I grew up.
I
want to say plenty of Asians, plenty of Hispanics, pleny of Eurasians, and all that. Just maybe 3 black people.
As a person who
I had less than that. I had
And when was that?
as a
a half black, half Mexican person growing up in my grade school, and a few Asian people, and I think one Indian classmate, and that was it.
It goes like, for instance, I came from the north side of Chicago, and I never knew what it was about my part of Chicago that was different from all the others. I had no clue. It wasn't until my junior year of high school that I brought a girl over to see. I just brought her around so we could hang out, and she looked and said, "Oh my God, this place is so diverse." I went, "What?" Oh, yeah, you're right. It is.
Right, yeah.
It is.
You only know
You don't
what
think
you-
about it
you
until
don't.
someone from the outside.
One of the things that I love
the
is
observation.
my daughter, and I'm glad. She has a diversity of friends. She has black friends. She has Hispanic friends. She has.
Well, she would just call them friends.
Exactly.
Yeah, right,
It
that's-
doesn't make a
that's-
difference.
right,
And,
but for
and we,
conversation, yeah.
Like, I
my
don't
mom and I were
introduce
talking
Zeb
about
as
this.
my black
I mean,
friend.
my
Oh, I do.
you know what?
This is
And
my
she's
friend
even
Zeb.
He's got a card with like Zeb, my black
Point,
friend.
the point that's making.
But the point is,
It says on the business card.
and,
Zeb Carter,
and she's
Drudgeon
lucky
black
enough
friend.
to have this even within her family.
Right.
We have
'Cause you didn't have
some
that
cousins
growing
that are
up. You didn't
Chinese.
have that growing up.
Her other cousin is black. We have this mixture in our family. Her other cousin is part Middle Eastern.
Yeah.
I mean, so we have this mixing in my family, and I love that.
That's really good.
And it's one of the things that you go back. To the 50s, 60s, you're not going to see that in most cases.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
And I think that's part of where this film had it too, when we were talking about the old guard, as it were.
Even in my family, on one side of my family is so white that when one of my cousins
How white
married
are they?
a black, they're so white that when one of my cousins married a black Muslim from I don't remember what country, but somewhere in the south of Africa, there were literally what I like to call the redneck branch of the family stopped talking to them entirely.
Jeez.
Stopped talking to her entirely because of that.
And I wasn't even remotely really raised up like that. I mean, I'm from I don't want to say snotty because I want to insult anybody from Beverly on the south side, but kind of a little bit when I was growing up, I can say, because I'm going to be 43, so when I was younger, it was a little bit different. But I had an interesting upbringing because my parents were more progressive, if you will. They kind of got stuck in between generations, I think. And, I was like 10. I was working at 26 in Damon in the city at a fish market, handing out shrimp to, and then that's predominantly Hispanic population.
Yeah.
You know, and then my father's fish market moved over to literally right across the street from the juvenile detention center. We called it the Audi Home back then, and that was Gangster Discipling. You know, that was when I was like 13, and everybody, it's the Audi Home. Everybody looks at me like, what the hell's the Audi Home? I'm like, okay, the Cook County Juvenile Detention Center. You know, so I had a very, I don't know, I think I realized that I was actually kind of blessed with a kind of a different upbringing, because if you hear about people coming from Beverly or whatever, I have a hard time sometimes intermixing with people from my old neighborhood, because I was exposed to different places and different environments and different people and different things like that, and then I have to kind of figure out how to navigate kind of what Lackey was getting at, like navigating, you know, more liberal, more conservative, more this, and I'm kind of like trying to figure out like how to go, well, I want to say go both ways, but yeah, that's exactly what I try to do. But I'm kind of blessed with that, I think. My parents, on the other hand, they would say to me, when I was 15, I was dating Damon, and yes, he was black, and my parents, they were cool with it. They liked Damon a lot. Except for that he drank and threw up all over the place once, but never mind that.
Sorry.
Yeah, it was kind of gross. But they told me, look, we don't give a crap, but for God's sake, can you please be cool about it, because I don't want to get any shit from your grandparents.
Yeah.
So they were like, we're talking about the generation of the old guard. It's like, what did my parents do? Because they were like trying to walk in between like two worlds too. Between, you know, my grandma used the word, oh my God, what was jigaboo?
Really? I don't even know that one. Actually, one thing that I love at one point in time,
she's
me
long.
and Deb were sitting there talking one night, and we're like, okay, let's come up with racial slurs. And he would say one to me, and I'd say one to him. And the one that made him laugh the hardest, I'm like, Spiachucka.
I know, that's a character on MASH, for God's sake. They did that on purpose on MASH, though. I loved that on MASH. But here's the thing with my grandmother. I mean, if you met her, she was like my mom's mom, and she lived with us for years when she was sick. And she's we went back, you know, when she was born in 1912. You know, what do you want? That's
ADBC.
But my whole question,
once again, they passed people on the street, but they didn't really meet them, get to know them.
Right.
And that, I think,
in her mind, that was just what you. That was just the word for it.
My only argument is like with my grandfather, like I said, saying that it's one of those things where I'd be like, okay, that's kind of stupid. He's being an idiot. Oh, but that's the way things were. Yes, but you can grow and you can learn.
Yes.
But just because they're old, just because you're old doesn't mean you can't learn new things.
No,
exactly. You can teach a child, you can teach an old person. It'll take more to teach an old person, but when they say something bad, you slap them. Yeah. No, bad. Just like a child.
This is how nursing homes end up on 60
before we started recording, I was telling the story about my mother who only recognizes 5 races: white, Indian, other Indian, black, and Chinese. 6 races: white, Indian, other Indian, black, Chinese, and Mexican.
What's other Indian?
Okay, no, so this is American Indian. My dad would always say this. My dad would always say this. Are they the push button or the pull start?
I don't even know what that was.
See, there's
Indians for India or Native American. My absolute favorite one was we were watching the Vancouver. We were watching the Vancouver Olympics, and they're bringing out. They're having the parade of the people from the First Nations, and my mom's like, "What are the First Nations?" That's what they call Native Americans in Canada. Why don't they just call them Indians? Because they're not from fucking India.
See, I thought you were talking about something entirely different with your mother.
Hold on. In a few moments, we will be losing 2 of our members here today. We'll be losing Lackey, and we'll be losing Meg. Do you 2 have any final thoughts before you leave the table?
I liked this movie.
I liked it overall, and if you kind of look at it, not just from the racial aspect, there's a couple different things going on here. I liked it overall, but some of it sucked.
But that's. No movie is perfect except for Audition. I can't find any flaws.
I think the words you were looking for is Rogue One.
Actually, no, you're right. I couldn't find any real flaws in Rogue One either. So those are my 2 favorite movies in the world right now: Rogue One, 2001, and
what
Audition.
What happened to Let the Right One In?
And Let the Right One In.
See, I mean,
and actually, I have about 27,000.
What about Citadel? You really like Citadel.
I did.
Which, by the way, I just picked up.
Citadel.
And Martyrs.
Oh, I love Martyrs.
See?
Citadel, I think if I remember correctly, I gave Citadel 3 stars and said it was flawed, but I appreciated where they were coming from. And you're just giving me shit.
Yeah, I am. That's what I do.
think for the most part, I really like the way it was directed. Get Out. I really like the way Get Out was directed, and I like Daniel Kaluuya, and I like the cast, and I have a crush on Allison Williams, and I would say it's a really good movie.
She is a hot Peter Pan.
It was better than I
She
thought
played
it
Peter
would be.
Pan.
In
But it still kinda
the
sucks.
Christopher Walken one, yeah.
There's a Christopher Walken Peter Pan.
However, you only now heard of this.
Okay, why would you?
Because I'm a
Why would you
dork.
not want Christopher Walken as Peter Pan?
He's Captain Hook.
Why would you want that? No, I'm sorry. I want him.
You want to be a lost boy.
No.
Come on! No, he's so much better. Imagine you flying around in green tights.
I actually think I want Christopher Walken as Hook.
When the,
You
come on,
can fly.
I got
You
this.
can
Can
fly.
I already know what Christopher Walken looks like flying. I've seen the video
Yeah.
for Weapon of Choice.
Okay, good point. Good point. But
He keeps
green
falling into
tights.
corners. He keeps
Hey.
falling into corners. Shit. I can't
Up my
control
ass.
this thing.
I've done that for years.
Damn it, Tinkerbell. What the hell, man? I'm in another corner.
Any final thoughts? Or are you guys out?
I'm
this,
out.
or you
Does Mag have any final thoughts?
I don't care. She's a woman.
Yeah, I'm a woman. Who gives a
Yeah.
shit. Yeah.
More Tinkerbell.
I look at everything a lot from a psychological perspective. Or Tinkerbell.
Okay, Doug gets the award.
I actually didn't hear that.
Doug gets the award.
Tinkerbell. What did you say?
Go ahead.
No, it just says Christopher Walken. It just said more Tinkerbell.
It needs more. I can't do the voice.
Yeah, I can do it.
Okay, I'm done. I'm turning this off.
Yeah.